Hey guys, welcome back to Trimmer Trails. About a month or so ago, we were having a discussion on the community page on the YouTube channel, and a subscriber said, you know what, I feel like you've kind of lost your trimmer. Like you don't really own a trimmer anymore because of all the modifications that you've done to it. And at first I was really offended by that, but I started to think about it more and more, and I realized that this may be a great time to have a conversation about why I moved away from the stock suspension on the trimmer to a more beefy modified suspension. So let's go talk about it real quick.
Start the clock!
Really fast for you people that may be new to the channel, a quick backstory about me and my wife. When I bought this truck, I had zero experience really with off-roading. The only off-roading I ever did was being out on a deer lease somewhere trying to get to a deer blind in the middle of Texas. When I bought this truck, I knew that it had off-road capabilities, but I wasn't too sure about it. I'll be dead honest with you. I love the way this truck looked. I thought it was sexy, and that's the reason that I bought it. One night on the couch after watching another tired-ass rerun, I looked over at my wife and said, you know what, this thing is supposed to be off-road capable. Let's go jump up on a trail somewhere and see if we enjoy it. Long story short, that was the beginning of our journey. And since then, we go out every 3 weeks all across the country, cataloging and filming and doing different trails. As of today, we're already at almost 2,000 miles of trails that we have filmed and reviewed and got to explore. But thinking on this subject, I realized that I'm probably one of the few guys, or maybe a handful of guys, that actually go out every month somewhere across the country putting their trimmer to the test. And I figured this may be a great time to share my experience of why I had to move away from the stock setup and onto a more beefy suspension. Now, because we're lucky and we get to go out so often, I feel like I had a really steep learning curve, and I learned a lot of information really quick with seat time about the capabilities of what this truck could do and not do. One of the first things you're gonna find on a forum or anywhere is when somebody buys a trimmer, the first thing they ask is, how do I get it leveled? What did you guys do to level out the truck? One of the downsides to the trimmer coming off the showroom floor is that it sits almost 3 inches lower up front because of the rake. I personally loved the rake at the beginning. I thought it looked sexy as heck, and when I towed, the truck was flat. In my opinion, if you use the truck to haul your goodies around like a side-by-side or something to get you to a trailhead, or you go out once or twice a year and try and do some cool forest roads or BLM roads, you don't need to even touch the truck. The truck is perfect the way it sits. But if you want to get into some tougher, little harder obstacles, you're going to have to level the truck, and you're probably going to have to get a better suspension, which is what I did. One thing I personally learned from the get-go is that even though they claim there's a pretty good approach angle on this truck, with the way that the rake sits on this truck, your approach angle is not great for more technical trails. Also, around the 12 to 15,000 mile mark, I noticed that the stock suspension was giving up. Ruts that I would normally hit on a forest road trail, I would be bottoming out. And we're not talking jumping the truck, we're talking 5 miles per hour kind of obstacles. And I would assume that's because we do so many different kinds of trails, really abusing the suspension, that I was able to learn really quick what the limitations of that suspension were. If you look under my running boards where that 90-degree L bracket is, if you look at your truck, mine is completely smushed. The reason for that is there just wasn't enough clearance. And we're not even talking crazy obstacles like 5s and 6s. We're talking regular washes. We're talking regular minor rock crawl kind of things. Now, unfortunately, Ford built the suspension all around the trimmer. That's what it's known for, is the trimmer suspension. However, that doesn't identify the model altogether. There are several bells and whistles and different things that you cannot get on an FX4. I feel like personally the suspension does not make the trimmer. I think it's the turn trail assist, I think it's the one pedal drive, I think it's the transmission, I think it's the torsion control up front, several of the different things, and of course you get the cool looking hood. HaloLifts essentially came up with a formula for what the best shock rate and drop would be on an F150 trimmer. The product itself is made by Elka, so you're running Elka shocks and running Elka coilovers. I have not had one problem so far, knock on wood, with this suspension, and we've already put close to probably 20,000 miles on this suspension. You'll immediately notice that once you go to a different suspension, the back of the truck actually sits down and doesn't have all that body roll like the stock suspension has. Of course, as soon as somebody says I need to lift the truck, they're gonna look at the truck and go, dang it, now I need bigger tires as well. And of course, I was that same guy. I went to the Nitto 35s, 12.5 Recon Grapplers. If Ford would listen to its buyers a little bit and maybe get some feedback from us guys that are out there nonstop really trying to put this truck to the test, the best thing they could do was level this truck with another 2.5 inches, and they would have a doozy on their hand. You could essentially leave the showroom floor with a truck that's capable of doing probably 90% of all the trails across America and Canada. So to recap, the reason that I had to move away from the stock suspension and onto a more beefy platform was because we go all over the country, and I don't want to be stuck out there on an obstacle that I can't get over because of the limitations of the rake and the low clearance that is on the trimmer. Now I know the Tremor is lifted higher than the FX4 and the other F150s, but it's still not enough. That's the whole reason that we upgraded and continue to upgrade our truck. My goal, which is probably a dumb one, but I'm gonna let it out there so people can ridicule me, I want to do every badge of honor trail that a Jeep can do in my Ford Tremor. That's my goal. To make it extremely simple, if you're a person that's not going to do a whole lot of overlanding and off-roading, your stock Tremor will be great. I used to brag about it at the beginning of videos when I first started. In my stock Tremor, it is a capable vehicle. But if you want to get to more technical trails and really get off the beaten path, unfortunately, the way that the stock setup sits, you're going to have to get some more ground clearance, and you're going to probably have to get a beefier suspension sooner than later because it may start giving up on you. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Let's carry on the conversation down in the comments below. If you want, I'll do my best to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching these videos, and until next time, we hope to see you guys out here on the trails. Bye.